Hey everyone, welcome back to Guitars, Whiskey, and Golf in my bourbon tasting room. Today I wanted to do a quick review of Blue Note Juke Joint Whiskey, Uncut, Unfiltered, Single Barrel. So a few weeks ago on one of my store hauls, I was going up and down the shelves and came across Blue Note Juke Joint Whiskey. I was kind of skeptical. I'm looking at this saying, what's the catch here? It's a single barrel. It's barrel proof at 122 proof. It's uncut, unfiltered. It's not aged that much. I think it's 3 years, something like that. But I was really skeptical. I mean, because as we all know, how many good cask strength whiskeys are there under $40? I can think of maybe Maker's Mark cask strength, which is anywhere between around 39 maybe to $42, but I cannot think of really many others. So if you know of a really good cask strength whiskey out there that you can pick up in that $40 price range or slightly below, shoot me a comment and let me know. I'd really like to check it out, maybe review it, or just add it to my collection. So interesting story about Blue Note. Blue Note, their distillery Rickhouse collapsed after a tornado. Most of their product was destroyed. I think something like 25,000 barrels were destroyed. But some of the barrels survived the collapse. And as they were excavating the collapse, removing all the debris, they were finding some barrels that were undamaged. So those were kind of put off to the side. They were actually left out in the sun and the rain, basically exposed to the elements for, I think, about a year. And according to the distillery, that sort of forced the aging process to speed up. Because of the sun beating down on these barrels, they were exposed to more heat, and they were exposed to rain and cooling temperatures. So as you know, as a barrel is warmed or cools, that forces the whiskey into the wood and forces the whiskey out of the wood. So according to the distillery, that really kind of sped up the maturation process. And you have what is called Blue Note Juke Joint Whiskey, Uncut, Unfiltered. So as I said, I was a little bit skeptical when I bought it because I just didn't have a very high expectation for a cask strength whiskey at $39. But I brought it home. I haven't really, as you can see, I haven't really drank that much of it, but I have had a couple of sips off of it, and I am really pleasantly surprised. The nose is really nice and inviting. There's a soft sweetness to the nose. So you have caramel, there's some dark cherry, maybe a little bit of peppery note there, probably from the rye influence. The mash bill is 70% corn, 21% rye, and 9% malted barley. So slightly high rye in the mash bill. So you can kind of pick that up a little bit and maybe some pepperiness. But overall, the nose is actually very sweet. And like I said, very inviting. Let's go in for a taste. This whiskey, first of all, does not drink anywhere near as hot as 122 proof. Um, it's it's really enjoyable. There's some nice sweetness there, like I said, some caramel, some vanilla. There definitely is some pepperiness. You have a little bit of cinnamon, some baking spices going on, some dark cherry, which is really nice. Overall, the nose and palate of this whiskey is a really pleasant surprise. If you're out there in your marketplace and you see this Juke Joint whiskey, uncut, unfiltered, single barrel at barrel strength, I not only would recommend buying this, but you might even want to stock it. Get yourself a couple of bottles. This is not going to be around forever, at least in this form, because, like I said, the amount of barrels that the distillery was able to reclaim from the collapse is limited. So it isn't going to last forever, but I'm sure they eventually will come out with some sort of replacement product for it. But in this form, with that backstory, it's obviously going to be limited and won't last forever. At that price, this whiskey is so good that that's why I'm saying not only buy it, but maybe even pick yourself up a couple of bottles. So, a little bit about Guitar's Whiskey and Golf. I have about 70 bottles in my collection of scotches, Irish whiskeys, bourbons, ryes, some cognac. So, it's not the hugest collection in the world, it's not the smallest. Um, but I call my whiskey collection a working man's whiskey collection. I'm not out there buying $350 bottles of Blanton's and things like that. I love whiskey. I love getting into it. I love the ritual of it. But come on, I'm a working man. I've got a working man's collection. The vast majority of my whiskeys are $60 and less. I have a couple of bottles that are around 100 to 110 bucks. Some of those are scotches and one Irish whiskey. So I will dabble occasionally in that 100 plus price range, but I'm really not dabbling in whiskeys that are 250, 300, 350 bucks. Um, like I said, I'm a working man, so I got a working man's collection of whiskey. So, but I hope that that helps you because I think a lot of people are out there are the same as me. They love whiskey. They love experiencing a variety of whiskeys, whether they be scotches, Irish whiskeys, bourbons, ryes. But you don't want to go bankrupt doing it. So this one I can heartily recommend. And it's kind of what my channel is all about, rooting out good whiskey at good prices and helping you who tune into the channel connect with those whiskeys. So I hope you'll consider subscribing to Guitars, Whiskey, and Golf, and we'll talk to you later. Thanks. Bye.